Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Investor More, and we're back with another real estate investing video, although this is more business related. We're talking about the liquor store and mini store I bought, Mini-Mart, I should say, about 4 months ago, in that range. And we're finally starting to dial in the numbers more and more. I know I've been saying that for a while, but now we're really starting to get some better statistics and ideas on what we're spending and if we're making any money at all. So what you're looking at now is my Clover Screen, and it's pretty cool because I can see what the store is doing in real time at my office 20 miles away. So that's really cool to see. We're going to show you that. We're going to show you some of what the store looks like right now, talk about some of the issues and problems I've had and some of the time I've spent there. It's been kind of crazy, but hopefully all of it will kind of smooth out here soon and be able to run mostly by itself. We'll see how that goes. We're also going to look at a few different numbers on this as well too. Now, of course, we love the likes, love the comments, love the shares. Keep those coming. And investformore.com is my blog. Has hundreds of free articles, free book on there, and all kinds of great information on investing in real estate. It's kind of my first dive into running a small business like this, an actual business. So don't have a lot of information on that yet, but maybe that will be coming here soon as I learn all about it. All right. So like I said, this right here is our net sales for today so far. So it's so cool because I can see what happens right now. And maybe if I refresh this, there might have been another sale come in while I was doing that intro. I don't remember what that number was. So, but what I can do here is on Clover, I can look at sales reports, orders, inventory, my profit, costs. I can see employees can time in and time out because they have their own application there in the store. I'll show you that too. We can have a loyalty program, discounts, all kinds of cool stuff. So we've just barely touched the surface on what we can do here, but I want to give you a quick idea of what I've been doing. So one thing that took us a while to get this started is we wanted to go through the store and inventory everything and show how many of each item we had in the store and the prices and get all of that correct. And we did that, so it was all in the system because there's a lot of new things that weren't in the system, and it was pretty tricky. So the old owner used Quickbooks, and Quickbooks could only be used at the store. You couldn't access it remotely. And so I was able to save a report from them, from all their inventory, everything they had, take that, and then put it into Clover. So I'll show you here. Here's all of our inventory in a stock count. So if I go like that, you can see the most of what we have is Jim Beam Whiskey 50 shooters, and then lotto tickets, which make almost no money. But I can go here, I can import an Excel sheet of inventory. The tricky thing is I have to make sure all the categories are the same, everything's lined up correctly, there aren't any duplicates, and it took a very long time to get that all imported, but we got that imported. And so all that came into the Clover system. But then obviously there's some tricks with making sure, any new items we've added are there. Sometimes we buy things from the store. We're getting new items from our vendors. Those have to be entered manually with the SKU. It can take some time. And then we want to make sure the costs are right too. Because what I can do here is we have our sales for the day. And actually I can show you. Hold on a second before we get too crazy. This is today's net sales. And, oh, that's last week. Hold on. Maybe I do need to click here. There we go. Then we can see yesterday's, which was a Sunday, great Sunday. And then we can see Saturday's. This is partial Saturday. We started using Clover at noon on Saturday, so that was part of Saturday. So then we can do that, or we can click the whole last week. Eventually, we'll be able to compare this Saturday to last Saturday once we're up and running long enough. But then I can click on this right here, and it will take me to what it says my gross profit margin is, which it says is 30%. I want to shoot for 40, but that's really hard with tobacco because we make almost nothing on tobacco, and lottery tickets we make almost nothing. And then I'll show you why this is probably wrong too. So as of today, we've made $260, but it doesn't count paying staff, paying for utilities, things like that. So you have to make a pretty good amount of money to make a profit. And before I figured my break-even point was about $400 a day after figuring rent, utilities, staff, that includes the manager, and rent as well. I pay myself rent because I own the building. But if we look down here, we can see what items we sell the most of. Chewing tobacco is always up here, number 1. That's a lottery. Modelo is always up there. And the other cool thing I can do is I can come over here and I can see what my profit is. So I can see what I sold, what my cost of goods are, that's what this number is, and then my gross profit for each item. Now we're still not up and running amazingly, perfect, because if I click on this, not that one, but this one, we can see, oh, cost of goods 0, 0, 0, 0. So a lot of the cost of goods weren't entered in the old system or have not been entered when we enter new items here. So I've been going through and trying to add some of that, and then we might be able to import those from the vendors directly so that we, from their catalog, get them all in our system so it doesn't take a ton of work. We're working on that right now. So this 30% gross margin isn't quite perfect yet. It's going to be a little bit lower than that because, we don't get our eggs for free. We don't get our Gatorade for free. A lot of different things going on there. And they can be tricky too because we have Pepsi, Coke, Little Debbie, Cashwa, Southern, High Country, Arctic, so many different vendors for ice, for beer, for alcohol, for food, for beverages, tons of different vendors. And they each do things differently. And some don't even want to give us an emailed receipt. They want to just physically drop off the receipt at the store. So it can be a little difficult integrating things. So although I'd love to have this perfect system that always has a perfect inventory and perfect prices, I've come to the realization that's probably just not going to happen. But we'll try to come as close as we can. And then every 6 months or so, we're probably just going to have to update prices and cost of goods and hope it's all right. Because the other thing we've noticed, and that's with this gross margin here, is some of our prices have not been changed for years while the cost of goods has gone up. And a lot of these cost of goods aren't exactly correct in the system either. That's another reason why I want to go through and try and implement everything as much as we can. So for example, milk before, I don't know if we sold any milk today, was showing up as, I think we charged $4.75 and it cost us $4.80 to get milk from our vendor. Now it's a really expensive price, and that's one of my goals is to start finding some cheaper vendors too for some of this, and we'll see how that works. And something else that's kind of crazy is Coke. If we buy Coke cans directly from Coke, it costs us like 73 cents a can for Coke, and we're charging 71 cents. So that's not a good way to run a business. So we have to raise our prices on some stuff and maybe try and find some other stuff. Now Pepsi, on the other hand, if let me see, they charged us, I think it was $7.99 for a 24-pack. Delivered. They charge us 33 cents a can. And yes, Coke was charging us $17 for a 24-pack. 71 cents. Or no, it was more than that. Maybe it was $17.70 or something. So definitely, it's weird how much difference there is in prices. And the more stuff we do with Pepsi, the better deals we can get as well. So going through pricing, redoing that, making sure our costs are all in here and correct. Making sure all of that is done right really gives us a better idea on if we're making money or not, which is pretty important, I think. And of course, there's also just looking at the bank account. So I'm going to show you some of the store, what's going on there, while I talk about that part of it as well. All right, so here we are coming up on the store, and that's Kim, one of my friends who works at the store. I don't know if he's trying to get me to bounce my truck. It doesn't do that very well, and that's his Porsche too. But here we are inside, and yeah, we spent days last week going through every item in the store, scanning it. We got a new scanner for the Clover so we could do it remotely, and seeing how many items we had, what was in the system, what wasn't, and so everything now should be in the system. The annoying part, the tricky part now, is that keeping track of inventory is very tough because a lot of the vendors will just drop stuff off, and then some will just start stocking shelves. Then they give us a sheet of all the items that they dropped off in the inventory, and then some of those descriptions match perfectly what's in the system, and some of them don't match at all. So it's just very tricky. So if we can somehow get to a point where we take inventory as soon as a shipment is placed, do that right away, get that in the system, that would be amazing. Because we not only had to do the front part of the store, we had to do the back part of the store as well. And so you can see we have lots and lots of inventory now, lots of things to sell, which is good because when I bought it, it was very sparse. There was very little there. And just looking here, I think we've brought in total, there's our Clover system, about $86,000 in sales and spent about $66,000 on inventory. But that doesn't count like the 50-some thousand I spent in the very beginning on inventory from the previous owner. And I knew that number was probably high. Looking at it now, I know it's definitely high because she sold us a lot of expired things and different stuff. But pretty much we got all the coolers, all the materials, everything for free. So I wasn't going to make a big fuss about it. And so we also have, yes, the back room with all the beer and alcohol in back, and that's stacked even higher now. Lots and lots of different things going on there. So keeping track of inventory is tricky and tough, but I really want to make sure we have that so we know it's low. We can track everything from the office, not going there, see what's going on, and then really want to make sure all our prices are correct and costs of goods sold are correct too, because it doesn't make much sense to sell a bunch of stuff when you're losing money on it. So, and I mentioned we spent a lot on inventory, but we've improved the inventory a lot. So it's kind of like, yes, we've spent a lot. We're not making a whole ton. It will get better, right? Once we've built up that inventory and kind of have a stable idea of where we want to be, then I think we can really start to see, hopefully, our bank account growing in conjunction with hopefully this showing us we made money. And the sales have been much more than what I thought they would be, but the cost of goods have been more as well because they weren't accurately in the system from when we bought it, or from some of the stuff that we've updated in there too. So you can see another sale came through, at least, or probably a couple more sales came through, and we can click on the sales here and kind of see when they happen, how they happen. It's pretty neat. There's a lot of other stuff we can still do too. How much is cash, how much is credit cards, all of that. So it's a pretty cool system. Really excited to get going on it. And now I can kind of do what I've really been hoping to do for a while, which is kind of stressful and fun at the same time. And that's look at our profit margins, our cost of goods sold, and see, hey, like, does it even make sense to sell this item if it's too expensive to make money? Should we be raising prices on this? Should we be buying more of that, less of that? And then, or can we get things cheaper? If we can get milk $2 cheaper from somewhere else, that's a huge bonus for us, a huge increase in margins. That makes a ton of sense. Same thing on some other items like Coke. It's crazy. I can go to the grocery store next to me right here. I own this, strip mall I'm in, and their discount grocery store. They had 24 packs of Pepsi and Coke for $6.99 the other day. It was crazy cheap. It's cheaper than I can buy it directly from my vendors, and half the price of what Coke charges me. But again, I don't want to be buying stuff and driving it to the store all the time either. But it's kind of cool because some of the employees there are like, oh yeah, on my way to work, I'll pick up some stuff, because not all of them live near that store, or they have to go grocery shopping at other places too, and they're willing to help out as well. So it's kind of interesting. But it's been fun. It's been interesting, learning a lot. I think it will be a really good business once we get it dialed in and working right. And then we can really start to add some things like maybe some high-end whiskey, some different kind of interesting tequilas, things like that. We could add breakfast sandwiches, more deli sandwiches, maybe breakfast burritos, possibly hot dogs or pizza down the road. Who knows? There's all kinds of different things we can do to bring more people in. But once we get our numbers dialed in, we figured out, hey, this is what we need to do, make money on. Then I think it'll be easier to add things and really bring more people in, knowing, hey, when they do spend money and come to the store, at least we're making money. That's the point, right? All right, so thanks for watching. That's all I've got for this one. We'll have tons of updates on the store, how it does. Hopefully I'll get my cost of goods all in there the right way here soon. Without having to do all of the 5,000 items manually. That doesn't sound like much fun. But I think there's ways to do that with Excel, and we're working on that right now. And then we'll make sure all our costs are right, our profit margins are right, and then we can really see if those things make changes and differences in the profit margin, which will be really fun as well over time. All right, cool. Love the comments, love the shares. Keep them coming. Let us know what you think. We'll be back with many more videos coming up here soon.